Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a Wednesday edition of Chrissy Comments Conversation. And I am your host, Chrissy Comments. This week, we want to first give a shout out and a salute to all of our first responders as we are still in the midst of a pandemic, as well as we now have a brand new variant. We want people to stay protected, stay vigilant, and if you decide to get vaccine, do it. And if you don't, continue to stay safe and mask up. We also want to highlight something that is another problem that we have in our country right now: gun violence. It is not just something that we hear about anymore, it is now national news. And as this weekend we enter into the second celebration of Juneteenth here in America, we want to remind people to stay safe and stop the violence. Because if we continue to destroy one another, we can't expect them to respect us. With that being said, I also want to let you know the comment of the day for Chrissy's Comments is never look at your dreams, your childhood dreams, as just dreams. Your childhood is just a glimpse into your future. So always reach for your goals. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start the show because tonight's guest is Mr. Jai Kole. Jai Kole, welcome to Chrissy Comments Conversation. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to finally be on the most hyped show on the internet right now, Chrissy Comments. It's about time I got on this show. We're going to do big numbers on this show.
My numbers are doing well, yes. Thank you. You know, I want to tell people that doing a podcast is not as easy as you think it is. It's not just pressing a button and everything starts and you start talking. There's things that go on behind the scenes that we just experienced for the last 45 minutes. And this is why with all of my guests, I try to schedule them with enough time to prepare themselves because we need to make sure that your lighting is right, your sound is right, your location is okay. I also want to make sure that I do a quick interview to go over anything that we may miss to discuss beforehand. Not only that, we want to make sure that you have refreshments, any props, anything that you need to go ahead and get comfortable to be on the show. So again, I'm glad that you're able to be here. It has been a minute, second season. Not only am I a fan of your work, I am your sister. And a lot of people may not know that, but I am his sister, the oldest. However, sometimes he is the oldest. It really depends on the situation. But I'm very, very proud of all of his accomplishments. And with that being said, for people that don't know you, please explain to them who you are.
Okay. I'm a pro wrestler, obviously. As you can see by the look, I'm a pro wrestler, actor, mentor, and I do, different work in the community and stuff like that. So, but most people do know me as Jai Kole in pro wrestling in different states and stuff like that, all over the internet. So that's what most people know me as. But, all my friends and family know me as Jeff, Jeff Coles.
Yeah, it was definitely something to learn this different personality. This Jai is different from Jeff. People don't understand that even Chrissy is different from Kristen. Different people, individuals that have to build our brains. So, what inspired you to become a pro
wrestler? We used to watch it a lot in the 90s when my mother was dating. Actually, she had a husband. And he used to watch wrestling all the time. And I used to watch it with him when I was in elementary school. So every Monday or like Saturday, I would come home and he would be watching wrestling. But by like 9 or 10 o'clock, I had to go to bed and I would have to listen to my friends talk about it at school the next day. So I mean, like every day in school, they talked about it. We used to make fake cardboard belts and stuff like that, and bring them to school. And we used to wrestle during like recess and all that. So it was actually Tony, which is her husband. He got me into wrestling because he always watched it, and we just kept watching it and kept watching it and kept watching it. And it was one day they had a event called Tough Enough in like 2000, but you had to be like 18 to get on. I was only like I guess like 13 or 14, so I knew I wanted to try it out, but I wasn't old enough to get into it. And I didn't know where no wrestling schools at and stuff like that. So, yeah, he was the one that got me into Washington. I think he was actually the one that took me to my first pro wrestling WWE event in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, which is, I guess, the Georgia Dome was gone now. They actually took it down a couple of years ago. But yeah, he actually took me to my first wrestling event, and then even from that point,
I did not. I tell you, every time I have somebody that's family that I'm really close with on the show, and we go through these questions, I learn something new with each guest. And I had no idea that Tony was an influence to get to, become interested. That's something I didn't know.
yeah, he was really into it. He ordered pay-per-views. He had friends coming over. He was really, really into it. So I mean, I was scared of it for a while. So I used to see Yokozuna and Undertaker come out. I was scared, So it was crazy. But I never I mean, I always watched it and stuff, and stuck with it and stuff like that. But it wasn't really until I seen The Rock, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a wrestler now. That's when I said I wanted to be a wrestler. As soon as I seen him,
that made it, meaningful. When you saw him.
right, I was like, yeah, this is something that I can do. When I first seen him, he became a bad guy and all that, and he had the nice shirt on with the sunglasses and the gold chain. I was like, I want to be like him. That's exactly it. That's what I told people in school the next day, and everybody laughed at me. So I was just like, oh man, you tripping. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, that was a funny story. Yeah.
Wow. I never knew that. I guess because until now I really never asked.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed at the conversations that you have on platforms like this and the things that you learn. Now, with wrestling comes acting, and that's part of your craft as well. How did the acting come about with the wrestling?
Well, I actually started acting before I was wrestling. I always like film and TV and characters and stuff like that. So at the time, I couldn't really find a wrestling school, but I like TV and movies and stuff like that. So I actually had to audition to get into an acting school called John Robert Powers. You got to audition and they have you read lines. So they only accept I guess 5 or 10 people like every 6 months. So you got to audition in front of these people, read these lines. So I got in, and then like twice or 3 times a week we would have our classes and read monologues and stuff like that. And every weekend we would go out and audition and stuff like that. So they had you doing like little work, like little extra work and stuff like that. But I always liked it, what I'm saying, just acting. But I didn't really think about how that would help wrestling and things like that because I was just kind of doing one thing at a time. So I spent a lot of time acting before I got into wrestling, and then when I got into wrestling a lot deeper, the acting kind of slowed down a little bit. But I never kind of thought about it how I think about it now, where it's just pretty much it's a lot similar. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to ask you next. Do you feel that it's in the same circle? That you kind of merge the two?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you look at most older wrestlers, they always end up being actors at the end of the day. So it's kind of like I'm already in that position. I already have the experience. I already done roles and still getting roles and stuff like that. And then I'm transitioning to wrestling, which makes it because I mean, like in wrestling, personality is a thing that you really gotta have. A lot of people don't have. Is either you got the body, you got a personality, or you got a good character. Everybody doesn't have everything.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have at least one or two of the three to really go somewhere. If you got all three, the body, the personality, and everything else, then you're pretty much good to go. Yeah.
One thing that I will say is Jai is very, very humble about his craft and what he does. And when I mean humble, it's as a family unit, we never really know the, the projects and things that he's working on until it's complete. So we're always surprised and amazed when something comes out, a commercial or a movie, uh, new photos or interviews. So he's very, very, very humble. And I remember hearing one story about how the children, when they see, they know, and they often will run up and hey, that's John Cole, So you're a local celebrity of sorts to people in your city.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely say that because I mean, over the past couple of years, I mean, even like 2 weeks ago, somebody had walked up to me in Fells Point that I didn't really recognize, and they was like, "Hey, ain't you a wrestler?" I mean, so when I go places in the Baltimore area, the DMV area, from restaurants to lounges or wherever I'm at, somebody is either going to recognize me or somebody's going to ask me who I am for some reason. It always happens like that. But yeah, I never knew like kids was watching it on social media and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, I'm pretty well known in this area, which is just kind of funny to me because I never looked at it. I never kind of even thought that a lot of people was really still in to wrestlers that's not fully on TV and stuff like that. But a lot of people from this area, they don't see stuff like that often. So when I go to the barber shop or different spots, everybody already know who I am, and they just kind of like, man, I never met a wrestler before. You know what I'm saying? Well, just to see somebody that look like them or come from where they come from, it's very surprising to them. I get it all the time.
Because growing up, definitely in the inner cities of Baltimore and elsewhere that we've lived throughout our lives, um, these are hard areas. So for you to become something different from what you could have become is definitely inspirational to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, because normally it's either basketball, football player, rapper, or something that's pretty like I'm not down in none of those things, but it's pretty common because yeah, I mean when I go places, they already assuming I'm a football player or something like that, or a basketball player, or when I was in California, they asked me was I a rapper, so it was already something. It's always something, but then when they find out it's wrestling, they're like, oh man, that's it totally throws them off.
I'm sure.
It's not something you see every day.
People don't realize that, a lot of people think that wrestling is just acting, but it is really, really hard on the body, right?
Say it again.
I was saying a lot of people think that wrestling is just an acting thing, but it's difficult on the body.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, when I first started training, it was an older guy. His name is Gilbert. Everybody from everybody knows him. He's been on in WWE and stuff like that. He told me like, hey man, I seen him taking some aspirin before he started training. He's like, man, you're gonna need this one day. And then as I got older and I started taking the bumps, it wears your body down where you have some days that you feel great, some days you don't, some days you got aches and pains, and you really don't know where they're coming from or why. You might think it's from the gym or from anything else. So I mean, if you hit somebody, if full speed, I mean your intention is not to kill them or knock them out, but when you hit running into somebody, you running into them. When you body slamming somebody, which is on like the ring is made out of wood, plywood, and a little bit of pad. There's no springs. That's none of that under. That's not a mattress. It's real wood and a little bit of pad. But I mean, your body get used to it, like over and over again. So you really don't feel it. But when you body slam somebody or you coming off the top rope, you coming off the top rope, you got a 300-pound man, landing on you, and of course they know how to, we kind of know how to not kill you, but you're gonna feel it.
Right, right. Which is just unreal. How long have you been wrestling now?
I started training in 2009, but I had my first match in let's say 2011, 2012. Yeah.
Wow, that's a minute. I mean, for all of that to be on your body, you also have to maintain a certain diet to be able to keep that weight, solid and to be able to move around. Is there a meal plan or anything that you like to follow?
I mean, not everybody follows a meal plan, but I do recommend trying to eat right because the thing about it is you can have all the muscles in the world, but being in ring shape and then being in physical shape is two different things. You can have people that don't have any muscles, kind of heavy set, kind of flabby, but they in great ring shape.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's two different kind of shapes you can be in. You can have no muscles and be, fat and everything like that, but your cardio conditioning can be ring condition. You can be in ring condition. Just like if you see a lot of football players, a lot of them guys are not in shape like that, but
Mm-hmm.
they can run and things like that because they're in football shape. So
Then
it's the same thing with wrestling. I mean, me personally, I try to hit the gym like three or four times a week, and then train at least once or twice a week. So
do you have any particular trainers that you like to work with?
you said, is any particular trainers?
Yeah, do you have a particular trainer that you like to work with?
Yeah, I mean there are different trainers in the wrestling business, places that have like wrestling school. I know that's a good spot in Jersey, called the Monster Factory, which everybody knows about. You probably see me there, pictures, in Jersey. It's a really good school. And then you have Maryland Championship Wrestling, which is a pretty good school here. And then you have EWA also, which is a good school. So I mean, these are places where you might have a small space and you got 20 or 30 guys flipping, running and training and sweating in these little small spaces, but you don't really see any of that, and that goes for anybody that you seen on TV or any place. They probably train in some little hole in the wall gym, it's just what it is, some
That's
little small dojo. Yeah.
that's the best training.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah.
So, I noticed that wrestling is now becoming something that is not just, well, it really never was for just males. A lot of young girls, including your niece, my daughter, loves wrestling. They follow it like intense. Have you seen a rise in female fans?
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is that when I first started watching wrestling, the women were just like a Miss Elizabeth. They were like little valets. They would come out and look pretty by the ring. That was years ago. And then they came through the whole, they used to call them like divas. They were very like sexy and stuff like that, very pretty. They weren't really wrestling like that. You would see like some women like China, every once in a while, but it wasn't too many. But now I probably say they probably have just as many women wrestlers as there are men wrestlers, and that's probably what's bringing in a lot of the female viewers, and people and women that are involved in it. Because now not only the women they are a part of it, but now they can actually wrestle. I mean, there weren't a lot of women wrestlers that could actually really really wrestle back in the day. There were some good ones, but now, I mean, there are some really, really good women wrestlers out there where now on shows, your main event might be a women's match. And that's something that people never really thought would ever happen where, you would have the main event at WrestleMania to be a women's match. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've definitely seen a spike in women that's want to get involved in it or women that just casually watch it or, just have an interest in it. Because most people watched it when they were kids anyway. So,
Have you trained with any females?
yeah, I mean, even when I first started, I mean, I know some women that I train with that are on TV now and things like that. Some of those women became wrestlers, or some of them became like referees and agents and stuff like that. But they always taught us like, if you training with them, you training with them, so don't like hit him just like you would hit a man. You know what I'm saying? Or slam him the same way you would slam a man, but it's still with the same intent. You're still training, so you're not gonna you can't cut them no slack because they a woman, because this is obviously it's all has always been a man dominated type of business, but everybody has to know the ropes and how to take bumps and stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. How would you feel if your niece or daughter got involved into wrestling?
I mean, if she wants to, I mean that's great. You know, we can be like the Simone family, like the Rocks family, and have all our kids and uncles and nieces become wrestlers and be a wrestling family. That's I'm cool with that. But I mean, yeah, you know, that's definitely cool. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, she loves it. But then again, you have some kids that grow out of it, or they might go through a phase, like you know. But you really never know. She might continue to really like it and stick with it.
What titles and things are you holding right now in your wrestling?
Right now, I'm holding the All or Nothing um, Legacy Championship. I won that earlier this year, so I'm about 3 months in as that champion. I'm only holding one currently right now, but I've had others in the past. Unfortunately, I don't have it near me at this very moment, but I'm sure if they seen your Facebook pictures, they seen you posting in it
I
as a
took a
brand.
picture.
Yeah,
Let
it's
me tell you guys, that belt is heavy. I had no idea. I always thought that they were just some clumsy little, plastic belts. No, these
yeah,
belts are heavy. Okay,
yeah.
and they are metal.
You know what's crazy because it's like you know, anytime you put a belt in somebody's hand, it's like their whole personality changes. It's like they just can't believe it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
they just get a whole different character and demeanor behind them, and they're like, oh, it's so heavy. Because I mean, people don't hold championship belts like every day, or just
no,
even get a chance to see, you know, see what it looks like and stuff like that. It's
yeah.
it's
I
funny
was
to me.
like, you really have to carry this around? Like, this is crazy. This thing is really heavy. It's real. And then I'm looking like my brother.
Right.
He won this. This title belongs to him, which is amazing. So congratulations again to you on that. Um, so when you're not in your wrestling mode, your mindset, what is something else that you're working?
I mean, when I'm not in my wrestling mindset, which is kind of hard to not be in that mindset because I guess being in the wrestling business, they always teach you to just kind of go and keep studying and keep you know so sometimes it's hard to kind of disconnect from that world, to be honest with you. But I mean, I try to have a lot of fun. I mean, when I'm not doing that, I'm probably still either in the gym or hanging out with family and friends and stuff like that. You know, working on a side business or traveling. You know, I think it's easier for me to travel to get unfocused on stuff than to just stay in the same space or state and try to focus on something else or take my mind off of something else. It's better for me to just get away to focus on other stuff or relax than to just be in the same city around the same people and try to like take a break from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you definitely have to learn how to separate those parts of you to live your life. And when there's not any wrestling or acting going on, you're also a mentor. How did that come in?
I mean, I started doing that in like 2017, and it's actually something that I always actually wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I like kids. So these people, they found me on Instagram, and they had reached out to me, and it was just crazy. They was like, "Look, man, we want you to come talk to some kids. These kids have autism and things like that." And I guess when you in the school system, they have like kids that have like different type of mental illnesses. They don't really let these kids graduate. They give them like a certificate of completion. So a lot of those kids really won't have the opportunity to get real jobs because technically they're not high school graduates. They just participated in a program.
Uh,
But so we pretty much did like a career day to kind of give them different options on different career paths that they might want to take on their own, and things like that. So I've been doing that for a few years. I've even had opportunity to work with the YMCA and do some one-on-one type of mentoring, but my schedule got kind of tough with that. But I mean, it's something that I definitely like doing with children, and just trying to help them get better.
it's amazing that you even can find the time to work within the community. It's one thing I feel that is important when you're in any industry. It's how you give back. So that is amazing that you're able to take the time out and give these kids the attention that they need. I hope you continue with that program, as mentors, especially um, with men. Mentors are extremely needed right now in the community. It's so many. The talent is amazing because it's you're all wrapped up into one person, but it's so many variables of who you are with the wrestling, the acting, mentorship, and it's so many different directions that it can go in for you. But what is something that you want for yourself in this career
Something that I want in the career path that I am, as far as like wrestling and entertainment. Um, More so to be a household name, and kind of just had the power to do my own thing. Rather, it's movies, music, wrestling, personal appearances. At the end of the day, it's not really all about money, because it's really all about exposure. And because that can definitely lead you to be in different avenues and things like that. Do I want to be a WWE champion and wrestle at WrestleMania? Of course I do. I mean, that's everybody's dream, but I definitely have other things that I want to do. Also, I definitely want to be in movies. I wouldn't mind playing Batman one day or something like that. What I'm saying? You
path?
know, I, I
Here's,
want to do stuff like that.
here's a
Hmm.
little secret. Growing up, he was in love with Batman. Okay, I'm not gonna put you out there, bro,
No,
but you was in love. You said don't do that.
no.
He was in love with Batman, so I could definitely understand why he chose that character.
Well, I mean, I was making that an example. I'm not saying that that's. I mean, they had a black Spider-Man that just dropped about a year ago. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
know.
wouldn't mind playing like a superhero role, like a Black Panther, or like Blade or something like that, or different roles that kind of like different kind of characters, especially like stuff in like the kung fu movies, like um, Ip Man and things like that. Like those are the kind of things I want to do.
Okay, okay, and it's available to you. I mean, the sky's the limit. I see a tremendous amount of talent, and a lot of people may not know that there is a movie on Amazon that you're in it. You're not, the main character of it, but you're in the movie. And that was a big deal for us to see your name in a movie. So you already have started your path, and it's no telling what direction it will lead you. You know, do you feel that it's difficult in the entertainment business for you to get into?
Um, in the entertainment business, there's different ways you can go about it. I mean, if you're looking at entertainment business in a whole, I mean, it is kind of dominated by a certain ethnic group, and sometimes people of our same ethnic make it harder for people that look like us.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, the difficulties that you might, run into in the entertainment business aren't those people that you think that they are. It's actually people that look like you that can sometimes cause difficulties in certain things with egos and things like that. But I mean, if you have the talent, I mean, and you got connections, I mean, I wouldn't say it's too many difficulties, but I mean, I would say definitely people do have some stories. I mean, there hasn't been anything, to be honest with you, crazy that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Involving that. But I mean, just sometimes different misunderstandings and things like that. I mean, that's pretty much normal stuff. But I don't have no crazy weird stories about anything that probably happened
Well, that's good.
in the
I
business.
don't want you to have any crazy stories, because I am very protective. You know it.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing going on.
Well, that's good. I mean, with the path that you're going on, is there anything that you would change in it to bring you where you are now? Is it something you have done differently?
Yeah, I mean, I probably say honestly, you know, uh, start as early as you can, because when you become an adult and you got responsibilities, it's kind of difficult for some people to kind of follow their dreams, or do different goals, because they have all these responsibilities. So I probably say, if I'd have known earlier, about certain things, I would have jumped in a little bit earlier. But I'm not saying that that affected anything. It really didn't, because it's all really about how much time you put into it. But I would say if you got anything you want to do, start as early as you can. Like that's probably it. Like
Now you've not only wrestled here in the States, you've actually wrestled outside of the United States, correct?
right, yeah, I wrestled in Canada, and I'm working on India soon also.
Oh wow. See, these are things that I'm telling you, he's so humble about his career path and his projects that I'm just now hearing about this. So, congratulations on that. I hope that that works, that travel safely in this COVID atmosphere that we're in right now. Um, so, do you know when's your next shows and things that are coming up that people can come and attend to? Is it now becoming COVID safe again? Is it open up? How is that going with events?
I mean, right now things are starting to slow up. I mean, we do have an event in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, Saturday. AON Wrestling. This actual event's going to be in a mall. It's in an actual mall in the middle of the mall, like they had back in the day with WCW had a show in Mall of America, right in the middle of the mall in the food court. But I mean, it's going to be similar to that. So that's going to be going on this weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna have to keep everybody posted on what's coming up. But as restrictions lift up, dates will be announced and things like that also. But as of right now, I got one event coming up Saturday, so definitely check out Facebook for that.
How do people find you and follow you? Can you give them the information on how they can keep up with everything that's going on in your career right now?
The best way to do that is to like my Facebook page, Jai Cole, Jaikole, or follow me on Instagram, which is the same thing. And just check YouTube or Facebook, Twitter. It's the same name on all platforms, and and just keep up to date with what's going on out here.
Jack Cole is also have your apparel. I often see pictures of people in T-shirts and things, so people can also buy apparel for you, correct?
Right. As of right now, it is on a website called prowrestlingtees.com/Jai. So that's the company that's actually printing the shirts right now for me. I mean, I come up with all my own concepts for images, on my own, and then they do the printing, the shipping, and everything else, and then I get a profit from that as well because they're doing most of the work. But soon, most likely I'll have my own website, and I'll start shipping on my own and everything too. And aside from that,
Things are coming to me. Recently, you even had a guy that made a whole rap song about you.
yeah, that's
That
that's
was
that's a cool guy, man. His name is Showtime Ramon. He's from California. Now it's crazy because a lot of things that I run into is people that I meet on social media. These not even people that I be meeting face to face. I might just connect with somebody on social media, and I'll share a song. I found his song on Instagram, and I shared it because I liked it. I didn't know who he was. He had made a song about Mike Tyson, and I liked it. And then he inboxed me. He was like, "Hey man, I love wrestling," and I checked out his profile, and he makes songs about like wrestlers and things like that. But most of the wrestlers he does is like on WWE and stuff like that. So he connected with me, and he was like, "Yo, I would love to I would make you a new theme song. I watched all your matches." And he made it, and that was like he it took him like a day to make the song, and everybody likes the song. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, and it's a really good song. And yeah, it's just crazy some of the things that people would do for you just because they like you or support you, whatever the case is. And these people that you never even met, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I just want people to know and understand that your path it touches so many in different ways, whether it's music or children that create their own wrestlers that look just like you. I mean, that was an amazing piece that that young child did for you because there wasn't a tool that represented child code, but he decided he wanted to make one for you, right?
yeah, and I think actually that action figure might actually be at your house.
I
I
think so.
don't, I don't have that. And the kid that made it, he actually has autism, which is funny to me because I didn't know a lot about autism, but a lot of these kids that have autism are really really smart in a lot of different areas. So it's different than me the way that he would make action figures for different wrestlers, but the way that he went about it, you just had this whole idea that autistic is not somebody that just doesn't have any, human ability or intelligence. But a lot of these kids, really, honestly, when I talk to them, they seem like we really, really didn't even tell that they have anything going on with them.
You see your life, and the path that you're leading is expanding and touching so many people on so many different levels that I don't even think you saw the whole picture, and it's still so much of it developed, that you're affecting through what you do. So I want to first say thank you for what you're doing and what you continue to do. Don't stop. Um, you keep moving forward. That's my motto. And I am glad that you were able to join me on the show.
Yeah, I mean yes, I definitely appreciate that. And if we don't do, we're gonna have to definitely do another show,
Oh, yeah.
also soon, and to cover some other topics. But if you want to run through any of the darker questions that you want to ask me, I'll still answer some of those
Yes.
questions also.
So, one of my questions was, what was your next movie? Do you know about any of your next movies just yet?
There was something that's going to be coming out on Amazon Prime and Tubi soon. It's called Twice. It's a 3-part series. So that's really all I can tell you at the moment. So Twice is going to be coming out. That's going to be with Love Star Entertainment. But right now we still have Redemption that's on Prime and Tubi. That was filmed by director Antonio Jefferson, and I'm definitely thankful he gave me that part in the movie because I actually got some good camera time and really kind of got to see how not only a film director does it, but a local film director, which is kind of remind me of myself because a lot of the independent film artists, like, they do a lot of work on their own. Kind of like as an independent wrestler, I do all my work on my videos and things like that. It's pretty much the same thing, and then to see him present it online and see people's reactions, it's kind of crazy. Like, this one person did all these different things in one. You know.
Yeah, that's a pretty difficult task, I know, on my end, because I am always doing everything. I write it down, as you know, my questions, keeping those, studying dates and making the phone calls, and um, just so much goes into it when you're trying to do things for yourself. I definitely want to give a big shout out to Miss Debbie. She said it's a great interview. She learned a lot about you, Deb. Miss Debbie is our stepmom, and she is so supportive in everything we do. And I thank you for always supporting Christy Comments and Murray and Jocko.
And Miss Deborah, I definitely need some of that cabbage and potatoes that she makes. Is so good. I've been waiting on that for like 3 years now. And please put some turkey sausage in there, a turkey neck bone, something in there.
Something in it.
Yeah.
It gotta be turkey, huh?
Yes. Yeah. For real.
Now, this was another question that I wanted to ask you that touches on a deeper um, level for you. Um, the fact that, first of all, being a Black man in America is already something that weighs on you as a man and on anybody that has a Black man in their family. But also with your size, do you feel that your size intimidates people along with you being a Black man? Because people that may have not met you in person don't know that you're like six something. How tall are you?
Right. 6'3". Yeah.
6'3". Um, and that is you're a big guy.
Yeah.
So does that intimidate people, do you think?
Absolutely, because I mean, it's what it is. I mean, the thing about it is you can be at a wrestling event and all these people from different cultures and looks, cheering you and asking you for your autograph and taking pictures of you, but you can be outside of that world and people giving you weird looks, or kind of looking at you in some sort of way. Like, even when I said earlier, people even asking me like, "Hey, who are you?" or whatever. So if it's not something like that, there can be some a little bit of fear from certain people just based off that. And that's just something that, being a black man is like being in a movie every day. You just don't know like what can happen or what you might run into and things like that. I mean, some people might even interact with you out of fear, just so that they can kind of fill you out, because there's a whole stigma that, in this country, that, black men are so dangerous, and the bigger ones are even more dangerous. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's always been something that I've always dealt with, and I've experienced, racism, and I've experienced discrimination, and different people being fearful when they shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So.
People don't understand it that they're fearful of you, and us as a family, we're fearful for you
Mm.
because of people fearing you. You're always a thought process in my mind, because I know how big my brother is, how intimidating they appear to me. But they don't know that this teddy bear inside that's approachable.
I
That
wouldn't say that.
you said, don't say that. You're not.
I wouldn't say that, but
Well, you definitely approachable. Yeah, you're not this whatever image they have in their head because you're a black man, and I'm quite sure that that has mentally affected you growing up, to having to deal with that. How would you say you've learned to, in a way, accept it, and use it to your advantage and continue to move forward?
I mean, like I would say I used to respond with a lot of anger. You feel me? So, and a lot of animosity in certain situations. So nowadays, I kind of think stuff out before I respond. But back in the day, a lot of things I would react to or respond would be immediately out of anger. But growing up, I was always the biggest kid in the class, the biggest kid in the room, or just the biggest, tallest guy in any situation, no matter what kind of thing it was. So I mean, I kind of got used to it, and I actually thought about writing a book one day, called "The Life and Times of a Big Black Man in America."
I
So
like
I'm thinking about writing a book like that just kind of breaks down different scenarios that people don't even know about, or different thoughts that go into my mind every day, just being out here in the world and
yes,
interacting with people.
yes, and walking around in your shoes is something that people don't understand. That being black, like you said, it's like being in a movie. Even for me as a woman, it's in a movie, because every step I take, every move I make, is going to be scrutinized one way or another. And right now we're entering into our Juneteenth holiday, observation, or whatever you want to call it, reflection, that we all need to sit back and understand who we are as a community of people and where we come from. I said earlier when we started that I want people to be safe, because this is not just a moment of let's get together and cook out and hang out and party and drink and carry on. This is a time when we really need to sit back and have that reflection moment, and these type of conversations with one another on where we are as a community in a race of people. So I hope that people take the time out and really, really listen to that part outside of the whole interview, but that part to understand that you're not the only man that feels this or sees this. This is something that all black men are walking around and carrying. And this needs to stop. We still should not be raising little boys that are going to become men your size or bigger.
Right.
Because
They
it's
are
something.
bigger nowadays. They are bigger nowadays.
They're bigger. Um, that
And
have that same issue, and how it affects them mentally really, really, really. works with how they interact with people all around.
Well, it was one thing that I was doing some research on, and they say that out of all the races of men, black men actually live the shortest lifespan out of all human races, and I believe a lot of that is because the racial stress and tension that black men have to face every day in society. It puts a lot of stress on black men every single day. To navigate in this society that's always looking at them in a certain way, and you have this on your mind, that I have only one opportunity to mess up, and if I mess up, I could lose everything. If I go outside and I get into a scrabble or something, they're not going to say Jeff Cole's got into a fight. They're going to say pro wrestler gets to a fight.
That's right.
They're going to pull up pictures and video clips, and he's a danger to society. So it's like nowadays I can't even respond in certain ways as I would previously.
Right. Right. Again, I really, really appreciate the time that you've taken out to be here on my platform. I want people to not only like, but share, comment. This interview will be on YouTube later on this evening for those that missed it and that want to share it elsewhere. And I just, again, want to say that this is Chrissy Comments Conversation, and we are always here to have meaningful conversations. And this evening we had with us Jai Kole, who is not only a wrestler, an actor, but a mentor. And his life is just beginning, and he has so many plans ahead of him. And I think that he is going to be all right. And we're going to see more of him, and we hope to have him back on Chrissy Comments Conversation soon. Please join me this weekend as I'll be here to discuss Juneteenth and how we can change the perception of who we are as a community of people and make things better. I won't have a guest, but I'll definitely be here to have that meaningful conversation with you, and you're welcome to chime in. Until next time, continue to stay healthy, safe, and continue the meaningful conversations that make you. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Jai.
Good night. I'm out.